And now comes the point of no return. Not because something dramatic happens outside, but because something irreversible happens inside you. The illusion of waiting disappears. Consequences stop being delayed. Small choices carry heavy weight. One careless decision creates weeks of damage. One disciplined action creates momentum. Life stops buffering your mistakes. Awareness without action becomes self-betrayal. You feel haunted not by fear, but by the version of yourself you are avoiding. Silence grows loud. Sleep grows light. Pressure builds, not as punishment, but as proof that something important is trying to emerge. Suppress it and it mutates into anxiety and emptiness. Honor it and it becomes power. The world offers less reassurance now because responsibility is fully yours. This is adulthood of the soul. You get what you tolerate. You become what you practice. The life ahead is already being shaped by what you do right now. Discipline becomes sacred or unbearable. Focus becomes rare. The gap between who you are and who you could be narrows dangerously. Not everyone finishes this journey. Some awaken only enough to suffer. But those who continue gain clarity, urgency, and direction. Loneliness peaks, silence becomes strategic, and comfort starts to feel unsafe. There is no neutral version of you anymore. Only alignment or decay. And if you are still here after all this, understand one final truth: you didn't just hear the alert. You answered it. Now this is the world that forms after the choice is locked in. The world doesn't change instantly, it changes how it treats you. If you chose comfort, the world grows quiet and predictable, days feel safe but hollow, challenge disappears, time accelerates, and the fire fades without drama. But if you chose discomfort, the world pushes back hard. Resistance multiplies, doubt grows louder, distractions attack, and old versions of you beg you to return. This is calibration. Life tests whether your decision was emotional or permanent. Growth isolates before it elevates. People fall away without conflict. Belonging becomes expensive. Pressure increases because responsibility increases. No one saves you here. Discipline replaces motivation. Consistency replaces excitement. And slowly, something changes. You become calm under pressure. Chaos no longer shakes you. Problems choose you because you can carry them. People project onto you because structure intimidates disorder. The world begins to trust you with weight. You expect more from yourself than anyone ever did. And at this stage, turning back creates a regret louder than never starting, because awareness cannot be erased. But continuing, even slowly, opens doors permanently, not dramatically. This is the world beyond the alert. Not easy. Not magical. But real. And if you are still here, understand this clearly: you didn't just hear the alert. You endured it. And now comes the aftermath they never show you. Once the alert goes silent, life doesn't pause. It watches. There is a point where signs stop repeating, where intuition stops shouting and starts recording. You may think nothing is happening because everything looks normal, but underneath patterns are locking in and direction is being finalized. You don't feel lost anymore, you feel numb, and numbness is not peace, it's permission given to stagnation. You are now choosing by default if you don't choose deliberately. Two futures are forming quietly. In one, you obeyed discomfort, leaned into discipline when motivation disappeared, said no to harmless distractions, moved even when fear negotiated. That future is not loud, but it is solid, your name carries weight there, your presence commands respect, and you sleep tired but fulfilled. In the other, you waited, assumed there would be more time, planned without executing, consumed inspiration but avoided transformation. In that future nothing is technically wrong, but nothing is right either. You smile in public and ache in private. Horror lives here, not in chaos but in quiet compromise. Repetition without growth becomes a prison, days loop, years blur, and one day you wake up shocked by how fast time moved when you weren't moving at all. That is the real trap, not failure, not loss, but slow erosion of who you could have become. Regret doesn't arrive dramatically, it arrives as a sentence you repeat quietly: I could have done more. No one is coming to force you anymore. The pressure you feel now is proof you still care, and once that pressure disappears, it doesn't return. If your heart feels exposed right now, that's not fear, it's alignment knocking one last time. After this, silence, and silence is never empty, it is filled with outcomes. What you do next decides everything. This is the part they didn't want you to hear. If awakening didn't move you, fear might. Because there is another timeline, one where you do nothing, where you keep delaying, doubting, silencing that inner push, choosing comfort over calling. In that future nothing explodes, nothing collapses, years simply pass and potential rots quietly. Dreams don't die screaming there, they suffocate in routine. Opportunity does not beg forever. Destiny knocks softly at first, and if ignored it doesn't knock louder, it moves on. That uneasiness you feel at night, that fear of staying the same for 10 years, that isn't anxiety, that's foresight. Something is watching what you do with what you've been given. Every delay is noted. Every excuse recorded. Every time comfort wins, the cost increases. Fear is not failing, fear is succeeding too late. Fear is realizing you had everything required and still didn't move. If you ignore this moment, life won't punish you immediately, it will reward you with distractions, comfort, just enough success to keep you quiet, just enough stability to keep you asleep. That's how people disappear without ever leaving. You won't lose everything, you'll lose urgency, and once urgency is gone greatness starves. That's why rest doesn't feel restful anymore, why entertainment feels empty, why pressure feels heavier, time is tightening. This next season will expose you. Either you rise or you repeat. There is no neutral ground left. One path is discomfort now and fulfillment later, the other is comfort now and regret later. Both cost something. Choose your pain. If you don't discipline yourself, life will do it for you, and it will be harsher. Storms don't ask permission. You've been protected so far not because you're lucky but because you're needed, but protection without obedience expires. This is the final gentle phase. After this, lessons become louder, losses sharper, wake-up calls stop being symbolic. This is not to panic you, this is to move you. Because shaped for pressure, for decisions that matter, for responsibility most people never carry. The truth is the future doesn't reward talent alone, it rewards endurance. Gifted people quit every day, while ordinary ones change history by refusing to stop when it hurts. This alert wasn't sent to flatter you, it was sent to warn you. What's coming will demand focus, discipline, and faith you cannot borrow. You'll have to trust the process when no one claps, work when results are silent, and believe when evidence is absent. Most people turn back here, but not you, because something inside you recognizes this moment. You're not behind, you're being aligned. The world celebrates launches but hides the explosions before them, and you've had your failures, false starts, and doubts, each one refined you. That's how builders are formed. The message continues, do not rush them, if they arrive too early the weight will crush them, which is why patience is protection. You're not late to your life, you're exactly where growth demands. You will outgrow people, places, and old versions of yourself, not because you're better but because your assignment is different. Some will say you changed, they're right, you had to. You'll need solitude, structure, and deep conviction. When doubt whispers, remember you weren't chosen for perfection but for willingness, to learn, to fail forward, to keep going. This alert doesn't promise ease, it promises purpose. Progress may feel invisible, but roots grow in darkness before anything rises. You are building roots. One day, without warning, you'll step forward confidently, and people will ask where you came from, not knowing the discipline, consistency, and faith behind it. The alert ends with this, proceed, they are ready enough. Not fully ready, but ready to grow. So keep going when it's quiet, hard, and misunderstood. The future isn't waiting for you to be fearless, it's waiting for you to take the next faithful step. You didn't find this by accident. Hidden alert, Elon Musk submitted a request on your behalf. You weren't supposed to see this yet. It didn't arrive with noise or notifications, it arrived quietly because some messages are too powerful to be delivered loudly. Somewhere between your late nights and unanswered prayers, between doubt and determination, something shifted in the unseen. A request was placed on your behalf, not because you asked, not because you demanded, but because something in you was recognized even when you struggled to see it yourself. This is not about Elon Musk as a person, this is about what he represents: vision, risk, obsession with the future, and refusal to accept limits. Your name was spoken in rooms you've never entered, your potential discussed in futures you haven't reached yet, and the request wasn't to keep you comfortable but to prepare you. Powerful futures are never built on comfort, they are built on pressure. Every rocket must endure force before touching the stars, and if it could speak it would beg to stay grounded, but it was never meant to stay there, just like you. You've wondered why life feels heavier, why resistance increased when you decided to grow, why distractions multiplied when you chose discipline, why people misunderstood you when you stopped explaining yourself. This is why. When the future calls your name, the present